Hello everyone, today we're going to be doing another Smash Ultimate patch video. As with the release of Pyra and Mythra, there were actually some balance changes this time. This time around we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. For starters, I actually don't have a script this time, I'm just going to be talking freely for the most part. This is because the Pyra and Mythra video is probably going to take even more effort than usual. So I'm thinking of just going down the list and talking about the different changes. Obviously I will edit in the changes on screen if there are hitbox changes, so that's going to be the same as usual. This patch overall is pretty interesting in my opinion. We finally got some well-deserved nerfs for some characters that I at least feel had it coming for a long time. Alright, starting off with the changes. This time we have some changes that the game calls match the vulnerability with other fighters when falling in place, which refers to the animation you go into when you get hit by moves like focus attack and skewer, where you crumple to the ground. This was changed on a bunch of characters, but honestly doesn't really matter that much overall. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it. Next up is Captain Falcon and Gendorf, who effectively got the same change, that being reduced lag on their successful up B, which is something they have been wanting for a long time. If you somehow didn't know already, there used to be this problem where Captain Falcon and Gendorf would get an up B under the stage, and then the opponent would easily just tech it and then punish them for hitting them. But now that the moves have less lag, that doesn't seem to be happening anymore. This has been a problem for like so long, and I'm pretty glad that they finally changed it. Next up is Pichu, who basically just had a lot of their previous nerfs unnerfed in this patch. Pichu no longer deals as much damage to themselves when using a wide variety of moves. Which is obviously nice, though it's not like Pichu isn't dying at like 30% anyways, so, you know, how much does it really matter? Another interesting change is that Neutral Air now has intangibility on Pichu's ears. The patch notes say that it's invincibility, but it is intangibility. I don't know if this is a mistake or if they just don't distinguish between the two. It's some good buffs for Pichu, although I doubt it's gonna make that much of a difference for them overall. Zero Suit Samus got some more nerfs. They just never want to leave her alone, though I mean it's not like she doesn't deserve it. They gave Neutral Air more landing lag. They also made her up B come out a few frames later, further limiting its combo potential. Both of which are relevant changes, of course, though I still don't think it's gonna make that much of a dent in her overall character plan. Like, she's still just gonna be really good, you know? They seem to just love to minorly nerf Zero Suit Samus like every patch for some reason. It's just kind of funny to see at this point. Next up is Wario, who actually got some well-deserved nerfs to two very relevant moves, that being up tilt and down special. Starting with up tilt, his up tilt now has a lot less active frames during the later parts of a move. The lingering hitbox has been significantly reduced, making the move a lot less good. You now actually like have to time it, which is, you know, fun. This move was honestly, like, unbelievably busted. I'm surprised it took them this long to nerf it, really. This move was like 50% of Wario's entire combo starting game. But now with the later active frames gone, I doubt it's going to combo nearly as well as it used to. You always wanted to get the later part of the move, you see. The earlier part doesn't really combo as well. And now that it mostly only has early parts of the move, it's going to be interesting to see if this move even really is that great anymore. The other big change was to waft, which were changed in two different ways. The half waft is now 3 frames slower, coming out on frame 8 instead of 5. And the full waft is also 3 frames slower, now coming out on frame 12 instead of 9. This is another pretty huge change, mostly because it's now going to be much harder to combo into this move since it doesn't come out as quickly. And especially with up tilt being gone, Wario Mans might actually have to be a little creative when trying to combo into this move for once. I'm sure there will still be combos, but at least 80% of them won't just come from up tilt alone this time. Diddy Kong had their down special nerfed. It's the same thing they did a few patches ago where they increased the window where you can throw a new banana after throwing one. I guess this also has to do with the infinite combo that they were trying to get rid of earlier. It's not like it matters that much outside of that infinite combo. It's not a huge nerf, it's just kind of, you know, a change. DDD had his side B buffed pretty noticeably. He now has less end lag, which is of course good. They also increased the chance for Gordos to get stuck on walls, which can be used for edge guarding and stuff like that. It's kind of a fun mechanic, so I don't really mind this that much. And lastly, the phrasing is a little bit weird here. Increased the speed that you can hit back Gordos that were reflected by the opponent. So I guess this means he can now reflect Gordos that were launched back at him easier or earlier. I'm not entirely sure what they mean by this, but sure. Next up is Little Mac, and he had his up smash buffed, increasing the active frames of it by a grand total of 1 frame, which is interesting. Apparently this is just kind of a fix from a patch that nerfed it way earlier on. It's kind of weird that they just decided to do this now. Like, that patch I think was like over a year ago or something. So they just, I don't know. They just suddenly felt like doing that, I guess. It's kind of weird, but I guess Lil Mac will take anything he can get these days. Next up is Me Gunner, who had their smash tag changed. Increasing the hitbox size a little bit. You should be able to see the change right on screen now. The hitbox itself is not actually bigger, this is more so a fix for a blind spot that the movie used to have. Which is nice, I guess. I'm always a fan of moves getting fixed in ways that makes the hitboxes more consistent. Moving on to Palutena, who actually got some nerfs for once. Of course they just had to wait 2 years before nerfing her hitboxes, but they just had to make sure that I made the Palutena video first. It's like they were waiting for me to do it and then just drop this patch nerfing Palutena. Kind of a real slap in the face. In any case, these nerfs are actually pretty good. Firstly, they gave her dash attack more lag, the move now having 3 more frames of end lag, which is not huge but just enough to make it a little worse. Her forward air was also nerfed, it now having 2 more frames of lag, going up from 7 to 9 frames of landing lag. This is actually pretty noticeable, I would imagine. Percentage-wise, that's a pretty huge change. The movie is obviously still going to be really good for neutral and stuff like that, but because of the 2 extra frames of landing lag, it might be a little less safe than usual, which I'm perfectly fine with, honestly. Now, lastly, grab range has actually been nerfed. And her grab now much more resembles a normal character's grab in terms of grab range. It's obviously now going to be much less safe, although it is still slightly disjointed because of the way Palutena moves her arms. It's still probably going to be pretty good, but it is going to significantly limit what Palutena can do out of shield, seeing how she doesn't really have any quick up-close punish moves. These nerfs were honestly pretty warranted. This character is just so pushed, it's not even funny, so them toning her down a little bit is perfectly fine by me. Now for a bit of a stealth change. This change is not in the actual document, but was quickly discovered after the patch was released. Wii Fit Trainer now no longer has landing lag on their side B, going down from 9 frames to the standard fast fall landing lag of 4 frames. This was apparently done to prevent a bug, where you would be unable to use side B for a while if you cancel any of your special moves right before you land. Now it's debatable if this landing lag reduction was intentional or an oversight as a part of the fix. Kinda like how Little Mac had the jab lag reduction added while they were trying to fix parts of his jab. Since it wasn't documented and part of a bug fix, I lean more so towards it being an oversight. They might end up changing it back like they did with Little Mac. But for the time being, Wii Fit mains can enjoy some lagless side Bs. Joker actually got some nerfs as well. His side B when not having Arsene now has a little bit more lag, which is fine, I guess. The move is probably still gonna be really safe because of how much range it has, but maybe now they can't throw it around as recklessly as they used to. His counter was also nerfed a bit. When he has Arsene out, the counter now has a little bit more ending lag when it doesn't hit anything. It's 2 pretty minor nerfs, I doubt this is going to be that big of a deal for Joker, although the side B nerf might actually be a bit of a hindrance. Byleth had some interesting changes, to say the least. Her down smash now has more knockback, which makes it able to kill earlier, as if that move needed that, like, at all? Because it wasn't powerful enough already. Likewise, her down air also has more knockback, because that obviously also just didn't kill early enough. It does, however, now have more shield damage, so it's going to be a little bit more scary trying to shield against Byleth when she's in the air. Side B Arid Bar also got some buffs. It now has increased shield stun for its sweet spot, meaning that it overall is now going to be more safe on shield, which is good because that move always felt like it should be more powerful than it is. It also has reduced end lag when you use it in the air and land afterwards. Her Upbeat also got some tweaks. For starters, it comes out quicker, which is pretty nice. It also now spikes people more aggressively when they're above 50%, which on stage will probably lead to more combo potential, and off stage it'll lead to, well, earlier deaths. Cool changes and all, but I really don't exactly think this is what Byleth needs to be good. It's another case where I feel they just kind of focus on the wrong things here. Next up is Min Min, who had their side smash changed. It can no longer be charged for as long as it used to, now needing to be fired off a little earlier than most other characters in the game. Bit of a strange change, but okay. Alongside that, the laser that fires off of Dragon Arm now has less knockback, meaning it isn't going to kill as early close to the sides of the stages. Pretty minor stuff overall, but it's probably going to prevent some cheesy kills. Steve's down smash now has a bigger hitbox. I mean, okay, that's cool. And lastly, Sephiroth's counter now has an easier time comboing into itself. I guess this must have been a problem. I can't really recall having seen it myself, but you know, it's good. That, however, were all the changes in this patch. Overall, I think this patch was fine. It didn't really try to buff any character significantly at all this time. It was mostly just nerfs for top tiers and unnerfs for a couple of characters. And the characters that actually did get buffs were like 1 buff per character, which obviously isn't going to make that big of a difference. I'm way more okay with a patch that just tries to nerf some characters and change some things, rather than patches that pretend to be going around buffing characters a bunch when it actually doesn't really end up doing much at all. So in that sense, I actually really don't mind this patch that much. It was fine, but I still really would like to get a patch where they actually change up the characters a lot, and actually buff them in ways that matter a lot. Anyways, thank you for watching this a little bit unusual version of the patch report. The Pyra and Mythra hitbox video is probably going to take a bit more effort. The Pyra and Mythra hitbox video is probably going to take a little bit more effort than usual, since there's 2 characters and all, which is why I wanted to spend a little less time on the patch report this time around. Also wanted to just test out this format and see if I actually could do it or not, honestly. So let me know what you think of it. And until next time, thank you for watching.